Hello, thanks for joining me, astrologer Patrick Arundell, for your August monthly horoscope for the Sun or the Ascendant. If you've yet to subscribe to my channel, I'd be honoured if you did so now. Please click or tap on the bell notification symbol. Every time I share some content, you will get an alert. Also, if you'd like to get your free daily horoscope to your device every morning, please see the link below this video and you can sign up. Also, if you'd like to take advantage of my fabulous offer of a 12-month forecast, a character analysis based on your time, date and place of birth, totally unique to you, to give you searing insights of your future prospects and potentials, please also see the link below. That is 30% off. Hello Aries, and welcome to your monthly horoscope for August. The Sun begins this month in your sister fire sign of Leo. This is about as good as it gets other than when the Sun is in your sign. The fifth house is where you can manifest the things that bring joy into your existence. But there's a very unique event on the first day of August, and that is that Mercury is aligned right by the Sun. They're so close, this is known as cazimi. They are exactly together. So Mercury is in the heart of the Sun. This can be very auspicious. So if you're trying to manifest something that's creative, to do with a social event, to do with a romantic possibility, this on the face of it would be extraordinarily positive. Mercury is how we think and it's how we communicate and express ourselves. Obviously, the Sun gives us radiance in the sign of Leo. It governs the sign of Leo. So this is a magical combination. So what's not to like? Well, it's just that on the other side of the heavens, the rather stern and cool and rather standoffish Saturn is in opposition for the first 4 days to this combination. So we may have a great idea. We may meet somebody who really inspires us. Our pulse may race with passion even, or perhaps it is going to be a more creative possibility. But what Saturn's saying is that whatever we're trying to achieve needs to pass a test. And that test, I think, in the circumstances of this particular opposition, is of sincerity, to be honest. Saturn is the ruler of the sign of Aquarius. The Sun is the ruler of the sign of Leo. So what Saturn is doing in some ways is modifying the glory of the Sun, but not necessarily to be mean. It's just saying whatever the Sun's talking about, whatever's exciting us, we need to mean it. We need to do it with sincerity. And that's really what we can take from that combination. Now, also through the first 10 days of this month, the Sun is in a right angle with Uranus. Now, of course, you'll know through to the 22nd of July, Saturn and Uranus had been in a right angle since the second week of January. That had peaked on the 17th of February and also on the 14th of June. Well, the great news is that has started to just float away. But what happens is the Sun comes in the first 10 days of this month pretty well, first 9 to be absolutely accurate, within 3 degrees, and is squaring up to Uranus. And this means that when the Leo new moon occurs on the 8th, the most potent new moon of the whole year as far as the Sun is concerned, the most potent new moon as far as the moon is concerned is of course that of Cancer. But this new moon and the first 9 days of this month are in a right angle with that restless, potentially disruptive influence of Uranus. And what this is saying for you, this new moon, is as you set your intentions to embrace anything that can bring pleasure, enjoyment, sociability, where you can really manifest your flair, skill and artistry over the next month, I wouldn't be too reckless with your resources or also with your affections, because you could find yourself being much more impulsive on the back of this particular new moon, and it's just modifying it in a way which works for you well. Now, on the 11th of this month, Mercury moves from the sign of Leo and transits into the sign of Virgo. Now, this is one of its two favourite passages of the year, because Mercury is one of those planets that governs two signs, obviously Gemini and Virgo. So through to the 30th of this month, Mercury is really at its best. It's sharp-eyed. It's helping us to be very precise in our approach, to sift out what's not so good for us, to be more discriminating. So that's a really good transition. Now, on the 15th, there is a quarter moon in the sign of Scorpio. Now, Scorpio energy is very much about transitions. It's deep, it's passionate, it's intense. If there is a relationship in your life, and it possibly could be a romantic one, where someone's being too clingy, too possessive, rather jealous, you may decide to push back and assert your boundaries. Ironically, on the 16th, Venus moves into its home zone, its second home zone. The first is Taurus, the second is Libra. So on the 16th, Venus moves into the opposite position of your sun, so your 7th house. And this is a fabulous position for Venus to be in for you. This really encourages you to embrace the concepts of harmonization, of diplomacy, of trying to collaborate with people, to try to help things to grow by celebrating what we have in common. So Mercury is in dignity from the 11th and Venus from the 16th. They both love being in these home zones. But Venus for you in that area is fantastic to try to reach better accords with the relationships that are important for you. But it is true that Venus then does go into a situation where it's also asking you not to give away your power too much in the sign of Libra. And on the 22nd, when we have the blue moon, so this is the second of the Aquarius full moons in 4 weeks, and this one happens right at the end of Aquarius. The one that occurred last month on the 24th happened on the 1st degree of Aquarius. So this is a blue moon, and that's when we have 2 moons in the same zodiac sign in 1 month. But this one is conjunct pretty well the backtracking Jupiter, which returned into the sign of Aquarius last month, late in July. So this can actually be a pretty positive full moon for you. If you are wanting to step up your social interaction with people, be more playful, then that's really going to be helpful to you. The 22nd, however, sees the sun then shift very quickly into the sign of Virgo. Now, from the 23rd to the 27th, Mercury is going to be in an opposition with Neptune, and that clarity that it initially brought in the sign of Virgo can be distorted somewhat. So if you are talking about anything to do with work, or you have appointments to do with pet care, or you need to go and get your teeth, have a hygiene check, all these kind of regular kind of things, easy for something to get askewed and a little bit mixed up in the last week of this month. But then Mercury on the 30th moves swiftly into the sign of Libra. And again, that's emphasizing this potential to find harmony in your relationships. But the sun's move into Virgo for you is very much about practicalities on the 22nd. So this is about looking after your health, your physical health, becoming more conscious of anything to do with diet, nutrition, additives that are put in food, because Virgo is very much to do with purity. The more you can clean up your act, the better. If you're someone who prides yourself on being very virtuous in this area anyway, you may find yourself just to tune in your exercise program a bit. If you have been a born-again couch potato through COVID, like many of us, you could leap off that couch on the 22nd and start to be a little bit more aware of walking, cycling, swimming, and run in if that appeals to you. But the sun moving into Virgo can also get you thinking about your work. Now, because of the creativity of the sun in Leo, being supported by the fact that both Venus and Mars have been in Virgo earlier in the month, this is a great month generally for you to take something that's very imaginative and can see you manifesting your flair, but then package it into something very workable that gives you tangible results. And you might start to see them from the 22nd, or a job application you've put in can come back and you have an opportunity to improve your situation. The sixth house can be about where we provide services to others. This goes a little bit against the energy of your ruler Mars, which makes you very single-minded and sees you focusing on your needs. But if you do work in any kind of job that provides services, you can really prosper from the 22nd onwards. So it's a really exciting month for you for sure, and there's a lot that you can go for. But I do feel that as we begin this month, that restlessness that's going on between the Sun and Uranus just suggests that you shouldn't dive into anything without a little bit of forethought about what the downside could be if the plan or hope you have doesn't quite work out as you want. Ironically, Uranus does go into a retrograde on the 20th of this month, which will last through to the 17th of January next year. But the great news is that grinding right angle between Saturn and Uranus, which had gone on through to the 22nd of July last month, from pretty well the second week of January, has come to an end. And that's something I think we're all going to really celebrate this month. So enjoy that Leonian energy and that fantastic bubbly new moon on the 8th, but just be aware that there could be an implication around your expenses or your sense of self-worth.